Happy Camper Radio with Skip Huber.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Happy Camper Radio Show, the only place to be when you're ready to talk camping. Camping is what we're about. Camping is all we talk about. It's episode 169. Are you the type of a person who believes in checking in with the office anytime that you're on vacation or out on a camping trip with your family? Is it necessary for you to find out what's going on at work while you're trying to have fun and spend quality time with those around you? It's not such a good idea, but some people do it. We're going to be talking about it. It's camping and checking in with the office on this edition of the Happy Camper Radio Show.
Happy Camper Radio.
And of course, the Happy Camper Radio Show can be heard all around the world by great listeners just like you. You can find us in the iTunes Store, on Podbean, Myra Guide, Stitcher, the BlackBerry Podcast Directory, iHeartRadio, and now on Google Play Music. Tell your friends to tune into Happy Camper Radio today. You can get in touch with us here at the Happy Camper Radio Show by calling 404-537-2267. That's 404-537-CAMP. Do you see how easy we made that for you? You can find us online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at www.happycamperradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker, add us to Circles on Google+, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we're going to give you a shout-out if you happen to log on and check in with us on social media. And I have some folks who signed up here recently, and I want to take a moment to say hello to them. First of all, to Janelle Wood of Glendale, Arizona, Richard March of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Connie Marino of Riverside, California, to Bob and Karen Visconti of Pauquag, New York. They like us on Facebook. And finally, to Shannon Minner, who subscribed to our YouTube channel. Thank you all so very much. Glad to have each and every one of you on board. More importantly, thank you for being a part of this great Happy Camper Radio family. Would you like to be a guest on the show? I'd love to have you. Is there something in the line of camping that you would like to talk about and tell the whole world? Hey, get in touch with me, Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com. We'll make that happen. The Great American Campout 2017 is just about here. This year, it's going to be Saturday, June the 24th, 2017. That's the day you want to take your friends, your family, your loved ones, and just spend one night in the wilderness. And you don't even necessarily have to go to the woods. Just go outside, set up the tent, and go camping. You can camp in your very own backyard. You can camp in your driveway if you have an RV parked out there. But, hey, just go out and go camping. It's just fantastic. It really makes you feel good. And one thing you definitely want to do, folks, when you're taking your kids out for that one night, unplug the computer, the smartphone, the iPhone, shut those things off. Have the friends, your family get together, play games, have a cookout, have a great time. The Great American Campout 2017. And you can even go to a public or private campground. But anyway, just go out and have some fun. I've added a link to Happy Camper Radio, and you click on the link section right at the top of the page, and you'll find Great American Campout 2017. Take the pledge. Make it a commitment to go camping that day. On the other hand, if the weather turns out lousy, it's going to be miserable outside, and we've had a few of those days right here in the metro Atlanta area. Just go camping another day. That's all you have to do, but just make the commitment to go camping. It's the Great American Campout 2017, Saturday, June the 24th. It's just around the corner. Make your commitment and go camping this particular day. Camping and work, folks. Do you find yourself checking in with the office anytime that you're on a camping trip or you're on vacation or if you're just away for a few days? Is it really necessary? Do you have that kind of a job where you really have to stay focused on what's happening in your absence? Do you realize the quality time that you're taking away from your family and your loved ones? A lot of us don't. I can tell you this, I have made these mistakes before, and I've learned from my mistakes. How many of you would say to yourself, wow, if I could go back maybe 20 or 30 years, here's what I would do different. I would probably save more money. I would spend more time with my family than I would be on the job. There's a lot of things each and every one of us will do. But, that's just not the way life works out. we learn along the way. Sure, we're going to stumble, we're going to fall, we're going to pick ourselves up, we're going to learn lessons that we've never learned before in our lives, but we're not going to make certain mistakes again. Consider the most important factors of a camping trip. Number one, that is spending time with your family. That is the absolute most important time that you can have, because that's time you're never going to get back. When you go away on a camping trip, you're focused on relaxing. Yes, sometimes we really plan these trips out in advance, and there's a lot of destinations we want to go to, and we research those destinations and find out what's happening in the area. Is there some sites, places we want to go to? Is there some hiking trails nearby? Is there an amusement park that the kids would really love to go to? We look those things up and we check them out, and possibly while we're away on our camping trip, we'll visit some of those destinations. We're all about meeting new friends as well. I love sitting around the campfire. I love inviting my neighbors on over. In some cases, I get invited over to their campsite, and I have an opportunity to meet some of these folks. And you never know when the opportunity is going to come when we can cross our paths. It would be great, wouldn't it? I like taking the Happy Camper radio show out on the road when I have an opportunity to do so. But spending time in the outdoors is so very important, and you really need to let yourself unwind and get away from the hassles of everyday life. And that includes the job, too. Take the time to escape and make it a point to enjoy every single moment of your time off. Consider the type of a job you have, and also consider your home life. Stop for a moment and look at what the big picture really is. Do you find yourself spending more than 8 hours a day on the job? Some people do. Some people just don't punch a clock. Some people go in for 8 hours a day, and at the end of the 8-hour shift, they go on home. But in some cases, the work will require more of that, and meaning you're going to be spending more nights at work, more early hours at work. It's just not going to be a 9-to-5 job. Do you take work home with you? This is something, too, that really consumes some of our nights and our weekends. Do you have that type of a job where you just do more than you really are required to do? There are some people who are actually married to their job. Are you receiving phone calls after hours? Are you receiving phone calls on the weekends related to your work? Is you're finding the job is more demanding than you really would like it to be? These are several reasons I just mentioned why you need a serious vacation, and why you need to actually just put all of that on hold for just a little while. It can be very easy to overlook some of the real important things in your life. And I'll tell you, I screwed up many, many years ago. I would like to go back and change some of the things I did. I have always been a career-minded individual. Not too many people can proudly say, like I have, that I, for the most part, have done pretty much everything I ever wanted to do in life. I've always been happy with the work that I have performed. Now, granted, in my early teens, there were some jobs, some minimum wage jobs that I worked that I can't say I was real happy about. But are you the type of a person who comes home from work and say, oh, I just hated going in today, and I got to go in again tomorrow, and I'm going to put up with that boss, and I'm going to do the same thing again over and over? There's a lot of people in this world, folks, that are very unhappy with their job and wish they could find something better. I have strived for 110% in everything I have ever worked for. I never went to work with the attitude that I'm going to do the absolute bare minimum that is required of me. I've always looked for opportunities for advancement. I've worked many, many jobs, and I would always try to climb the ladder for success anytime that opportunity crossed my way. I've earned advancements, I've earned promotions, and when I earned those promotions, I took on more responsibilities. And that also includes working longer hours. Success, folks, comes with a price. It's great to have that extra money. It's great to be able to say, hey, I'm proud of what I did. Your family is proud of what you did. But there's going to be some more responsibilities every time that you take on a promotion, and every time that you climb that ladder to do better than you did before. There came a point where my job required me to take work home at night. I did not like it. My kids were young. There's a lot of times that I really would have loved to have spent time with my kids, but my job was requiring too much of me. Now, granted, I was the sole breadwinner. I was the one who brought the money home. Fortunately for me, I was able to allow mom to stay home and raise the kids, which I thought was great. But still, there were times they really needed their dad, and dad wasn't there because dad was doing what he had to do to give them the best of everything. There's quality times, folks, when your kids are growing up and they're going to need you. And if you're not there, those times are not going to be able to come back. You're not going to be able to go back and relive those opportunities. Don't make some of the same mistakes I did. Money's not everything, folks. Believe me, it's not. But there are some people out there that are in these jobs and they can really get themselves caught up in situations where they're taking more time away from their family than they really would like to be. You're starting to take phone calls from the office at all hours of the night. And this means, in some cases, getting up, getting dressed, going into work in the middle of the night to handle some sort of an emergency. Yeah, people do that too. This was my law enforcement profession, folks. Now, when I was a law enforcement officer, I was really not out there doing the 911 calls and knocking on doors. I pretty much had a supervisory position, but I was actually more working with the news media than I was actually doing law enforcement work. And of course, this required me, in some cases, to get up in the middle of the night to meet with the press. I did not like it. I always enjoyed being home, but you got to keep in mind this too. There are some people in professions that don't get paid very well, and they really do it because they love the job. They love what they do. Take teachers, for example. Now, I've never been a teacher. I've known some teachers, and I understand what they have to go through. Sure, they would like to go to school in the morning, and when the school bell rings at the end of the day, go home with the kids. But it doesn't work that way. They have meetings. They have teacher planning meetings. They have to meet with parents in some cases. They've got to grade homework at night. They put in a lot of hours, and a lot of these folks are really not appreciated for what they do, and they're not paid very well for what they do. So you really wonder, folks like that, what kind of free time that they have for themselves and to really enjoy time with their family. A lot of these jobs do take up a lot of hours. Some people have second and third jobs just to make ends meet. I know a lot of people that are in that category. They work very, very long hours, and it's not a healthy thing to do. Many individuals in the profession, like I say, do the job because they love the job. They're not in for it for the financial rewards. But, you know, it's very easy, like I say, to become really attached to your job. You become married to your job, and that's all that's important in life. I really hate to say this, but there are some people who actually are so attached and so married to the job that they believe in their own mind, if they aren't there, the place is going to fall apart. If they leave, the job is going to collapse. Something is not going to work right in that line of work. That is wrong, folks. Believe me, it is. Remember this, and I'll say it again later on at the end of the show. When you applied for that job was there. When you worked that job, no matter how many hours a day you worked it or how many years of service you put in, that job was there. When you retire or move on to something better, that job is going to be there. It's going to be there regardless of who fills those shoes. So don't think about that for a minute, that the place is not going to be able to run without you. I remember a supervisor who retired after like 28 years of service on the job. And he was extremely dedicated. And I got to say, he was probably one of these supervisors that most folks really didn't care for. There are some bosses up there, you know, you just really want to stay away from them. But they're the boss, and what they say goes. This individual, after retirement, just could not leave the job alone. Even when he retired, 2 or 3 days later, he's calling the office to check up on things, to make sure everything was running just as it was if he were there. And this went on for a while. He had individuals who would call him at home and let him know of any changes that went on by the individual who filled his shoes. And of course, new supervisors come in. New supervisors had different ideas, and he didn't like them, and he was calling in to complain about it. And like I says, this went on for a very long time. And eventually he finally let go. And I think he realized, like, I'm not part of that job anymore. But he was so attached to it and just couldn't let it go. You probably can identify similar individuals in your workplace who are like this. In their mind, the company is not going to function. And if they step away for any short period of time whatsoever, things are going to collapse. Can you only imagine how unhappy people like that really are with their lives? Thank heavens I'm not like that. And when I retire, yes, I'm probably going to be married to Happy Camper Radio. My kids are grown and they're out of the house. And, I've got a lot of things in life that I definitely want to do. But even though I love the studio and I love the studio environment, and I have some voiceover work that I do on the side here besides anything else that I've got going on, I still got to take time for me. I've got to take time to go out and unwind and just let everything go and do some things in life that I want to do. So very important, folks. People need to balance their work and their home life. Take a look at your particular situation right now and see how good it is, how bad it is. Are there any adjustments that you need to make? Everybody needs time to enjoy life and get away and recharge those batteries. It's so important, folks. This includes severing ties with the office. Prior to the digital age, the only way you were going to communicate with anybody on the outside, whether it was friends, family, when you were on vacation, or the office for that matter, was a pay telephone. Listen up, kids. There was a time that we did not have these devices that you have today. There were no computers. There were no iPads, no smartphones. There were no cell phones. I can remember the very first electronic device I got was back in the early 1980s, and I got my very first pager. And I loved having that pager. I loved having it strapped on my belt, but I did not have a cell phone at that particular time. That came later on. But even long before that, those devices didn't exist. We did not have them growing up. Could you imagine what your kid would be like today if all of a sudden those electronic items disappeared? They'd probably go crazy. Think about your work situation for a moment. If you didn't have iPads, if you didn't have smartphones, you didn't have the internet, would things collapse? Yes, we have relied so much today on the digital age. But years ago, if you wanted to check in with the office while you were on a camping trip, you better have had a ton of quarters in your pocket and being able to find a pay telephone somewhere where you could go ahead and make those phone calls. And chances are it's going to be a long-distance phone call because you are camping far, far away from the office. I remember when the pay telephones were everywhere. You don't see them anywhere these days. Maybe at the airport you can find one or two of them here and there. But I remember the pay telephones. There was a time in my life it only cost you a dime to make a 3-minute phone call. Then they jumped it up to a quarter. And after 3 minutes, you might be deep into a conversation, and the operator would come on and say, that's going to be an additional 35 cents for an additional 3 minutes. And you have another 3 minutes to talk, and next thing you know, the operator's coming on again. That would drive people absolutely out of their mind today. But you've got to find ways to separate yourself from the job. People in the digital age try to find themselves constantly looking for ways to stay connected. There was some recent research done on this subject matter. In fact, it was Account Temps that had done a recent survey. And here's what they find. 60% of workers over the age of 55, and that includes me, do not check in at all while they're on vacation. The job stays there, they stay on vacation, and they leave it alone. But on the flip side of that, 62% of millennials, the millennial counterparts between the ages of 18 and 34, do check in at least once or twice a week while they're away. They've just got to check in. They've just got to make sure everything is working like it should. Here's some of the reasons that people stay connected on the job. Millennials are frequent users of social media. They always find a need to stay connected in one way, shape, or form. They want to make sure that the projects are being handled in a prompt fashion. There's a smooth workflow. They want to make sure that the work is not piling up. They don't want to be dealing with a backlog of work when they return on the job. So are they really having a good time? Are they really enjoying their vacation? or is the job taking too much of that time away? I cannot function out in the real world today away from the job trying to have fun if I had the job on my mind. That would really ruin my vacation. It would really take away a lot of interesting things and a lot of important things that I wanted to do, not to mention the fact that I really need to get away and relax a little bit. But what if the boss insists that you check in while you're away? Well, I've got to ask myself then, am I really on vacation if the boss is insisting that I stay in contact with work? That's something you're going to have to talk over with your boss. You've got to look at your work situation, folks. You've got to understand exactly what you're dealing with, and is this the type of a work environment that I am in that it is going to require me to check in while I'm away? What if you are the boss? Let's say you own the company. Well, that's quite a different scenario there. If it's a company that you built, you put your blood, sweat, and tears into this job. You went to work in the dark. You came home in the dark. You spent years and many countless hours building the success of your company. It's your livelihood. Yes, it's understandable. You've got a lot at stake here. You will naturally be concerned about everything that's going on while you're away. It's understandable that you're going to make periodic calls to those who may be running your company while you're away trying to spend time with your family. Another thing I want to talk to you about, folks, when your kids are getting ready to go on vacation, of course, they're all pumped up just like you. They're ready to go have fun. They're ready to let off all that steam. And of course, they're going to be excited. And of course, they're going to be telling their friends about it, whether they tell them in person or on the phone. What you want to educate your kids on, folks, when you go away on vacation, if your kids are telling their friends about your upcoming vacation plans, their friends are probably telling their friends, and their friends are probably telling other friends, and next thing you know, you have a whole lot of people knowing that you're going away, and you may be away for several days. That's not a good thing. Not too many people, very few people, if any, need to know that you're going to be away, especially if your house is going to be vacant. We have done episodes on this about safety when it comes to your home. This is one of the things I concern myself with, folks, anytime I'm on a vacation. It's not being there on the job, and I'm not worried about what's going to happen on the job while I'm gone, but I definitely think about my home and what's going on at the house. It's great to have a home sitter, somebody that's going to be there, that's going to pick up the mail, pick up the newspaper. But if your home is going to be vacant, you don't want your kids going around and letting everybody know that you're going to be going on vacation, because the word will get out, especially if you're going to be away, say, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. But, make sure that your home is taken care of in one way, shape, or form, whether you have a home sitter or maybe a neighbor's coming by to check on it. Even if you have cameras inside your home that you can activate by your smartphone, and here I am talking electronic devices again, but I don't have that. I probably will somewhere down the road. But it's a good thing to have, and you'll be able to see what's going on inside your home. It kind of gives you peace of mind. Here's some other things that you can do, folks, whenever you're talking about your job, when you're talking about getting away and making sure that everything at the office is going just fine, and where you can get to a point where you don't have to check in. Some people, like I say, still do this. Some people feel comfortable doing it. I don't think it's a great idea. But anyway, if you want to try to get yourself into a position where you don't have to check in with the office, here's some things that you can do. If you are in a position of authority, if you are a supervisor on the job, assign a point person who is going to act in your absence. This is a person that you know that you can trust to get the job done. Inform all of your employees in your work group that you're going on vacation, whether you send out an email, whether you talk to them one-on-one or post a memo on the bulletin board, whatever the case may be. But let folks know that you're going to be going away, and any issue that they have whatsoever, the point person, whoever that may be, is the person that they need to go to. Nobody needs to be calling you while you're out on the beach, sitting around the campfire, hiking up the mountain, or wherever you may be at that particular time. Let the point person handle the job for you. Advise when you are going to be leaving and the date that you're going to be returning. I would much prefer, if it were me, to actually put this in writing. Again, whether it be in memo form or in an email form, so there's no misunderstanding whatsoever. All problems and issues should be directed to the point person. Inform all of your clients. Let's say you're in sales. Let your clients know that you're going to be away. If there's somebody that can act in your absence, if there's something that needs to be done that you can't handle beforehand, and it's going to take place, whatever the services that they may need while you're away, somebody in the company should be in a position to fill your shoes and be able to take care of those responsibilities. Keep your mind focused on your family and on your vacation. Forget about checking your emails. Forget about the voicemail messages every 10 minutes. You don't have to be checking your smartphone. If you can, turn off your notifications on your smartphone. Turn your phone off altogether if you can. Kick back. You want to relax. You want to enjoy yourself. Again, folks, and I mentioned this earlier, remember this. The job was there when you got hired. It will be there while you're on vacation, and it's definitely going to be there when you retire or move on to better things. It's time now for our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show.
Happy Camper Radio.
And this week we are going to the state of Kansas to Hillsborough Cove. It's our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. Hillsborough Cove Campground is a spacious and shady campground located on the shores of Marion Reservoir. This Kansas getaway draws in thousands of visitors annually to enjoy the pristine lake shoreline and surrounding canopy of forest. This location here is a great fishing opportunity. If you're an angler, you will find an abundance of channel fish, catfish, walleye, white bass, wipers, and a boat ramp is provided at the campground for convenient access to the lake. The campground offers 94 individual sites along with 2 group camping areas and 2 group day-use picnic sites. The campsites offer plenty of shade, including picnic areas with grills and tables. Check out some of their activities and amenities right there on the website. They've got a boat ramp, boating, a dump station, electrical hookups, hiking, parking area, payphones, pit toilets, playground, trash collection, vault toilets, a whole host of things. A lot of information is right there on the homepage of Happy Camper Radio. All you got to do is click on the featured campground button. A few things to know before you go. 1 RV and 2 tents or 3 tents per site. Off-road vehicles are not permitted, and they have first-come, first-served sites available. Also, don't move firewood. Protect your forest from those tree-killing pests by buying your firewood locally and burning it on site. For more information, visit don'tmovefirewood.org or click on the link at happycamperradio.com. This campground is open all the way through Tuesday, October 31st, 2017. You can make your reservations online. It's Hillsborough Cove in Kansas. It is our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show.
Skip Huber on happycamperradio.com.
Of course, if you have a campground that you would like for us to feature on the show, get in touch with me, Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com. Make sure you include a link to the campground website. Well, folks, that's about going to do it for this episode of the Happy Camper Radio Show. Time for me to hang up the headphones. And it's time for you to make your reservations for your upcoming camping trip, wherever that may be. A lot of great camping opportunities ahead. Remember, friends, every pet deserves a loving home. Do like I did. Visit your local shelter and adopt a pet today. You can find us online 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at www.happycamperradio.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker. Add us to Circles on Google+, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Huber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. And no doubt about it, my friends, hang around with me long enough, I'm going to make a happy camper out of you. Talk to you again real soon. You're listening to Happy Camper Radio.